It's August 24th, 2024, and I'm with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, and I'm reading his book that he wrote approximately 25 years ago. It's called Their Mother's Sons. Their Mother's Sons, and we're on chapter 15, titled Patrols on the Rhine, V-Day, on page 445. This is the case where Mr. Jeckovich left the Paris hospitals of sniper wounds and shrapnel. They bandaged him up after 3 months worth of recovery in the hospital, and if he's able, his index finger is able to pull the machine gun trigger, and if he's able to walk, he's fit for duty, right?
Right.
Fit for duty?
Fit for duty.
Okay. I'll start reading, but I'll need your dog tag number first.
42965.
Okay. That's kind of like the passcode for me to begin. Docu-series 312, Studio C. Did you want me to read, or do you want to read?
No, you read. Go ahead.
Did you want to make any comments of any type before I read?
What comments about what?
Anything, the book, anything. You want to say anything, or you want me to just start reading?
Start reading, yeah.
Okay. Well, you're looking well today.
Oh, yeah.
How you feeling?
Very tip-top.
Yes, sir. Mr. Jeckovich was in Company H, 2nd Battalion, 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II. They affectionately referred to his division as the Diaper Division. Now, that was not of a derogatory term, but that was a term because all the soldiers in that division were either 18 or 19, fresh out of high school. Many casualties. And Mr. Jeckovich, his entire life, he lived it by a simple motto, being that yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today's a gift. This is what Mr. Jeckovich lives by, and he's been doing that since he was a boy. And so his book, basically, Their Mother's Sons, takes you from kindergarten all the way over to his late retirement ages, and everything in between, including the Battle of the Bulge, where Mr. Jeckovich received a Purple Heart and two bronze stars. So it was something interesting. And in 2024, we have about less than 7,000 actual combat veterans left. Less than 7,000 actual combat veterans left. We had a total of 16,400,000 young men and women who were in World War II from the United States. Up to now, we have lost 16,300,000 of them.
16 million?
During the whole World War, men and women, most behind the scenes, most in rear echelons. And there's a total of about 100,000 World War II veterans left, and there's only about 7,000 or 8,000 combat soldiers left. So the interesting fact is Mr. Jeckovich is one of the last 7,000 or 8,000 left, and the ones that are living are in the late 90s, early 100s. So it's a simple fact, we're losing them at 135 World War II vets a day. Time is up. And Mr. Jeckovich is knocking on the door of 100, so if anyone listening wants to text Mr. Jeckovich a question, he will answer it. Mr. Jeckovich will answer all text messages. And you can text Mr. John J. Jeckovich at area code 407-366-0000. Text Mr. John J. Jeckovich at 407-366-0000. Or if you're from the fine state of South Carolina, text Mr. Jeckovich at 407-366 double-aught. 407-366 double-aught. What type of weapon, you were asked, Mr. Jeckovich, did you use during World War II?
M1 rifle.
Anything else?
I had a bazooka. I had the machine gun.
Tell us about the machine gun.
Caliber 30, heavy duty.
And how many people did it take to...
A squad, 13 men.
All right.
Ammo bearer, first gunner, second gunner.
And that was a water-cooled machine gun.
Yeah, water cooled, yeah.
And wasn't there a very serious accident of one of your...
Yeah, he picked it up. The tank was hot, and he tested it. He seared his hand. Took the skin right off his hand.
A real terrible burn, and he had to be sent back to the States.
Yeah.
And wasn't many of your squad lost their lives? There's very few left during the end.
Yeah.
But it was a fluid war, meaning that you would be shooting on, your whole crew would be set up shooting the heavy machine gun, then within minutes you're moved it, and you're shooting in another location. Why were you moving all the time?
Because they zero in on you, and then you're done.
That was it.
Shoot a couple rounds and take off.
Uh-huh. And was it difficult during the Battle of the Bulge, being that was the coldest winter in 20 or 30 years, was it difficult to dig a trench?
We didn't dig any trenches, no.
Did you attempt to?
Just sit behind a tree or sit behind a rock or something.
It was solid, the ground, right?
Yeah.
Solid. I mean, the chance of digging a trench and moving on in 10 minutes.
You never do it. You never
do it. Did you get, from this cold weather, you mostly slept outside, lucky to be alive, but did you get, many of the soldiers got frostbite?
I got frostbite, no way. Right now, I had problems with it last night.
So even 80 years later.
Yeah, man, the temperature drops a certain degree, that's it, it takes off.
So you're basically disabled in that foot once they frostbite.
Yeah.
Frostbite. How about your shoulder where you're shot by a sniper? Does that bother you?
The frostbite?
No, the shoulder where you're shot by a sniper. Does that still bother you?
Well, I don't have the flexibility in this hand that I have in this one.
Is that direct?
Well, I'm right-handed, so I'm saying something. I never use a left hand.
So is that directly related to the sniper?
What?
Is that immobility to a certain degree directly related to the sniper?
Well, that 30 caliber went through my flesh. It didn't go through a bone or nothing.
Luckily. And then, did you not have shrapnel still in your leg?
Shrapnel, yeah.
Does that have any problems because of the metal still in your leg?
Well, it's close to the nerve, so they said, we're going to leave it alone. It builds a seal around it.
A lot of people don't understand those bombs they send above those young American soldiers' heads are full with just junk. Tell them what's in those shrapnel bombs.
Shrapnel what?
The bombs that they put bolts and anything in there.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us.
When they drop them?
Yeah, well, what's in there?
They put bolts, not razors, everything else, anything will kill you.
All scrap.
Yeah.
They load it with scrap.
And that comes down to the velocity from maybe 200 feet up in the air, so that goes pretty fast.
And then it would blow about 5 feet above the soldiers' heads.
Yeah.
And then it would cover a very large area with all the junk, the bolts, the razors.
And that's more than one plane shooting it out.
Spark plugs, anything they can load up in there, and then they would shoot out in all directions.
Yeah.
In all directions. What would they launch that from?
What was the what?
Yeah, what were the shrapnel bombs? What would they be launched from? A bazooka? How do they shoot those bombs?
How do they shoot those bombs?
Yeah.
Up in an airplane, they just dropped them.
Oh, they dropped them. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm learning something here. So it wasn't shot from a bazooka. They were dropping those bombs from an
The
airplane.
velocity and the gravity take care of the rest.
Wow. Would your helmet protect you if you're hit with one of those?
Now, I seen a helmet cut right in half.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Did any of the soldiers during World War II have bayonets on their rifles?
Never. I never had a bayonet rifle.
That was more of a World War I thing.
But I had the bayonet knife on my belt, yeah, but I never put it on a rifle. I was never ordered to put it on.
Right. Did any of the soldiers during World War II ever have bulletproof vests?
Never, never.
What was your uniform like?
Your regular Army uniform.
Was it heavy duty for the winter?
Well, you had long john underwear, and the T-shirt was heavy duty. And then you had a field jacket, and then you had a jacket too.
And you had to pretty much wear your helmet about 17 hours a day?
Yeah, outside, yeah.
Was the helmet insulated
Helmet?
to keep you warm?
There was a helmet liner inside it. I put a helmet liner inside of a steel helmet, and that's how I wore it. The steel helmet would do nothing. You'd be wobbling around. The helmet liner stabilizes it.
Did it cover your ears?
Well, it goes below my ears, yeah.
Did it keep you warm?
No.
Not at all. Were you issued gloves?
The what?
Were you issued Army gloves?
Gloves? Never, never.
What was the color primarily of your uniform back then?
OD.
What's OD stand for?
Olive drab.
Did most of the infantrymen were allowed to take their uniforms home?
Well, when you're in the Army, you wear your uniform 24 hours a day.
When you're
You can't
discharged?
go out home and put civilian clothes on, and the MP picks you up, you'll sell you the brig.
How about, I didn't know that. How about when you're discharged?
Well, if you're discharged, you're out.
Could you take
Then if you wore the uniform, you get into trouble.
Okay, so let me understand it. If you're in the Army and you don't wear the uniform, you go to the brig.
Yeah,
And if you're out of the Army, you wear the uniform, you get in trouble.
yeah.
So you gotta be very cautious, I guess. Holy cow. You gotta be very, very cautious. You were promised a promotion 4 different times. And many people that you knew got promoted, but they kind of skipped over you. What happened?
It's the old story. Larson got away, his uncle was the rear echelon, he got staff sergeant.
How did he get that so quickly?
Well, because his uncle boosted him up.
Didn't you say one of the soldiers that got an instant promotion, he came from the mailroom?
He's a mail clerk.
Yeah.
He got to be second lieutenant.
Instantly.
No military experience, no combat experience, nothing.
Just because he was connected.
He got the pay and the recognition, second lieutenant.
Wow.
And plus he was Italian. There you go.
What's that?
He was Italian. There you go.
Oh, okay. Okay, I understand. But you were promised by 4 different officers a promotion. I think a few of those officers died, and those other ones just got overwhelmed with the war that they didn't give you the promotion.
I never said nothing. Never said nothing.
You never even asked them what happened?
No.
You just let it go.
No. Larson got because his uncle was back there.
So did you see a lot of these guys getting promoted because of their connections?
Pardon?
Did you see a lot of young men being promoted because of their connections?
Oh yeah. Well, that's not the best sergeant, but the clerk. He got promoted.
Why?
Then one got promoted to second lieutenant, field commissioner,
No kidding.
which is stupid. And he sat in the rear echelon all the time.
Yeah.
Never seen any combat.
So the ones that are on the front line that should have got promoted didn't, and the ones that sat in the back in the rear echelon, simply because they had connections, they did.
Yeah. Well, the ones on the front line didn't get promotion because they're too busy staying alive.
That's right. They're too busy, yeah. Wow, that's amazing. When the war was finally over, I realize there was a point system before you're released and discharged. You go back to Niagara Falls. How did these point systems work?
The system worked.
The point system, when you're at
The time you had in the service, your state status, what you were, and if you're medically discharged.
and you were staying at the end of the war, Camp Lucky Strike.
Yeah.
Now, once you officially entered Camp Lucky Strike, that's a camp where the next move would be going back home. How many months did you stay at Camp Lucky Strike?
About a month. They got to go through all your life insurance and everything else. Back pay. I had a lot of back pay left because I wasn't getting it.
What'd you do with your back pay?
I stayed at home with my mother.
And your mother used it to live on?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's maybe another reason why the book is called Their Mother's Sons. Mr. Jeckovich took care of his mother as a teenager all the way to the end of the road. How old was your mother when she died?
89.
And she worked right up to that age, didn't she?
Yeah.
She worked right up to 89.
They were howling. I heard at Carolina, and the younger girls would say, well, how come that old lady's still working here? I got kids home, I don't get the money here. She gets the money, she's still here.
So they wanted her out.
Yeah. They're trying to get her out.
When she did get out, did she get a pension?
Huh?
When she was released from Carbrundum, did she get a pension?
No.
No pension.
I didn't get a pension from Kimberly Clark either.
Yeah, we could talk about that for a second.
They had lawyers on it and everything else, and it just faded away.
That's shame on Kimberly Clark. I'm glad you brought that up. Anytime I have a chance to speak about that, I will. Mr. Jeckovich, right after World War II, like many young men, started working for Kimberly Clark. What exactly is Kimberly Clark?
Makes paper and Kleenex and Kotex. Then they have another division for Kotex and another mill.
How about glossy paper magazines?
That's it. Magazines and paper, colored on both sides.
So
50-pound, 60-pound paper.
So Mr. Jeckovich worked for Kimberly Clark right out of the service to 35 years. Did you ever miss a day?
No, never late. Plus I had a business and everything else with it.
And you had other things going on. You had a laundromat, you had a plow business, you had children. How many children did you have?
What?
How many children did you have?
How many what?
Children, total.
Children?
Yeah, how many kids did you have?
How many kids did I have?
How many children, yeah.
I have?
Yeah.
I had 2 brothers and a sister.
Okay. And so you're taking care of your family and running a laundromat, doing a snowplow, and in those 35 years you never missed a day.
No.
How about when you were injured badly, when your arm was partly broken? Did you take off that day?
No, my arm was swollen up. I went to work. They put me on light duty. The other night they put me on light duty for a week.
It happened at work, right?
Yeah.
Well, how did that happen?
How'd that happen? Well, the felt runs through rollers, and the rollers take it out from the wet end to the dry end into the dryers. Now, sometimes that rollers get stuff on the roller, and you either stop it or take it off. Well, I was stupid enough to stick my finger in there to take a piece of something off the roller, and I got caught and I wrapped around it.
That was very, very
I could have lost my stupid arm, yeah.
Yeah. And how'd you get to work for 35 years?
How'd I what?
How'd you get to work for 35 years?
Walked. That car never seen the parking lot.
Your car never seen the parking lot where you worked for 35 years? Getting back to this pension, what basically happened there, Kimberly Clark, still going today, which will never buy their products, of course. Mr. Jeckovich was getting ready to retire after 35 years, and to a sleazy move by the corporation of Kimberly Clark, they transferred it to another ownership in Canada, which was basically a few miles away. Kimberly Clark was on the American side of Niagara Falls, and then a few miles away, was the Canadian side. They do a very fancy but sleazy but legal maneuver where they transfer it to a Canadian corporation named NITEC. And after shuffling papers back and forth, long story short, everyone that was due their pension that had 20 years plus, Mr. Jeckovich had 35 years.
They neglected it.
What's that?
They neglected it.
Yeah, you never got a dime. They're cheated out of their pension.
Pardon?
They're cheated out of their pension.
Oh, yeah.
Legally cheated out of their pension. So, as I say, we will never buy those products. And if I ever find them on my properties or removed, Kimberly-Clark are just is a very shameful outfit with no empathy whatsoever. So they wiped out pension of all these young soldiers. So we'll never buy Kimberly-Clark products ever. And if we find them on our properties, they'll always be thrown in a dumpster. So they cheated you out of your pension, and you lived so far almost 50 years past that.
Yeah.
So you would have 50 years of disposal.
Oh, they had lawyers around it and everything else. It was a dead end.
Yeah,
dead end.
But you lost 50 years approximately of disposable income. What a crooked outfit. Shame on Kimberly-Clark. But anyways, we'll move on a little further. Mr. Jeckovich is in fine shape. There's no worries there. His eyes, he can read a newspaper. He's sharp as a tack. His knees gave out, but that's over 80 years of running. His knees gave out. But besides that, he's doing quite well, knocking on the door of 100. I'll listen. What else you got to say? I'll listen. What else you got to say about retirement, health, anything?
Retirement now?
No, anything in general you want to say, I'll listen.
Well, I'm bored right now. I've got the woodworking stuff I do. I do stuff around the house. I help neighbors. I don't do that anymore.
I think you will soon. We're getting that all organized. You're very active. You had great carpentry skills, great building skills, and you miss it because you haven't done that in a year or so.
What?
You haven't used your hands in a year or so building things.
Yeah.
That's what you want to build. We're working on that. We're going to bring that back, that's for sure. How are you feeling today, Mr. Jeckovich?
Feeling good.
Yeah, you're doing well.
At 98 years old. No, yeah. I don't have any pains with physical pain or nothing.
No,
the legs are out, but they say, well, you got to exercise your legs. The legs are dead.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you.
I can't get up with this chair and start walking from there to there. I fall down.
I understand.
And they said, well, you got to go down and exercise. You got to do this. You got to do that. I said, there's nothing there. I went to physical therapy. I went to here. I went to there. Their legs are dead.
But I do know one thing. If you would give someone a handshake, you have enough power in your hand that you can bring that person to the knees. Your arms are very strong. Your hands are very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your knees gave out, and that's just the way it is. But all those people, when you start jogging 80 years ago, in your corduroy pants and your army boots and your old beat up t-shirt, people would yell and say, hey, can't you afford a car? Or, hey, you need a ride.
I didn't wear army boots. I wore sneakers when I ran.
Okay. They weren't your traditional jogging clothes. And so back then, when you were jogging many decades ago, people did not understand that you were jogging for health.
Yeah.
They did not understand. But by no means, the point I was trying to make, you didn't wear any of these fancy jogging outfits of today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't wear that, would you?
It's a sport thing now.
Yeah, but when you started jogging, you did it for health, and not too many people were jogging.
Now, see, when I seen those people at the dining room or see them anywhere else, they know me. I don't know them because when they talk in their car, they got the window down or something, I can't see them.
Yeah.
But they could see me all the time.
Yeah. And the major road you ran on was Alabama.
Alabama, yeah.
And then your wife should walk behind you.
No, she didn't walk behind me.
I thought she walked behind you.
No, she either sat in the car or truck or sat on the railing.
How about in your later years where you put the jogging down for walking? Didn't your wife used to walk with you?
No.
No? Okay.
No. I didn't do much walking, but when I stopped running, I stopped running, but the legs wouldn't go.
Well, you're living today very healthily because of the jogging, and all those people that had derogatory comments about that are pushing up daisies. So you're in good health. Let's be happy with that.
Pardon?
You're in good health, so let's be happy with that. Okay. You want me to continue reading?
Go ahead for a while, yeah, then we'll get on the...
Any comments before I start?
No, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Jeckovich is back to the front lines. I have not received any replacements, nor did I request any.
Replacement for what?
You were at the front lines doing reconnaissance, and you didn't have many soldiers left with you. In your book here, you say, I have not received any replacements, nor did I request any. I knew those in charge would read the MR, that's the morning reports, and know the present strength of the platoon and squad. Because we're in an inevitable position of always being in the state of detachment from our company, we are afforded the luxury of not having to put up the nonsense of company headquarters. Our playboy company commander was probably aware of our condition, but either he did not wish to be bothered with it, or did he not want to rock the boat and alienate himself from the top brass at the battalion headquarters.
Yeah.
Either way, I was perfectly content to operate as long as we were supplied with ammo and a hot meal occasionally. So you basically didn't care what the top brass was doing. Your goal was to have enough ammo to fight,
Yeah.
and once a week,
No, I was looking out for my men.
yeah, for your men. And once in a while, they get a hot meal. Not often, but once in a while. Once in a while. So, we knew we were going to jump off and cross the canal at any time now. Finally, on the 4th of April, we made the initial assault. We supported Company E, met with light German resistance on the east bank, and established a bridgehead before daylight. The 275th Engineering Battalion prepared to bridge the canal at our bridgehead, and then companies I, L, and F passed through our screen at 0100 hours. Exploiting the small bridgehead, Company E had made the night before. The vertical embankment was such that the assaulting infantry had to use ladders and rope. Wow, that's something. The embankment is so straight up. In order to get to the top, you had to use ladders and rope. Vehicles were unable to cross most of the day, but the troops crossed on wooden ramps. And once they were across, a perpendicular wall, 16 feet high, barred their way. 15-foot ladders was used to enable the infantry to climb the wall. Eventually, the engineers blew down the canal's concrete embankment, and dozers shoved the dirt into the canal, making a causeway for ships, to troops, to vehicles to cross on. That must have been a big job, to bulldoze the wall and push it into the canal.
Yeah, and that was engineers, yeah.
They work fast.
Army engineers, yeah.
They work fast, and they're good soldiers.
Yeah.
All the while, there was sporadic enemy artillery and self-propelled gunfire. We were set up in the woods, affording supporting fire, and were receiving heavy artillery and mortar fire. Luckily, we have found some abandoned German bunkers and utilized them for cover and to be moved out with the assaulting troops crossing the